All right. So on today's Sport Fuels Life podcast, we have with us Stephanie Davis. She is the program director for the Miracle League, which is a wonderful program that provides opportunities for children with disabilities to play Miracle League baseball. So today we're going to learn more about Stephanie and her background, as well as the Miracle League. So Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us in today's Sport Fuels Life podcast.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Awesome. So just to start out, if you don't mind, maybe you can share a little bit about your background and maybe some passions that you have or some life events that drew you to become a part of the Miracle League.
Sure. So it goes back, well, growing up, I always had a love for sports. I grew up playing as many sports as I could, but softball was one of my favorites that I played throughout my childhood and into high school. I had a sister who played in college, so it was just a family affair for us to be at the ball fields growing up. And that kind of looking back, that was something that I think shaped me as an adult. All the life lessons that are, built on those fields are pretty priceless compared to, not being able to be part of an organized sport. So I'm really blessed and thankful for those opportunities that I had growing up. And also, I just had a strong passion for individuals with special needs. And, throughout elementary, middle, and high school, I always wanted to work with the individual kids with the special ed and help them in any way. And it just brought a lot of joy to me in my life to be able to bring even just a friendship to one of those students in my school. So I always had those two passions growing up. And later in life, once I got through school and started working, I was 20 years old at the time when I heard the special on HBO Real Sports, which was 2001 is when I heard that. So over 20 years ago. And a friend of mine saw it and we said, let's bring this to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is where the second Miracle League was started. So the first one was here in Conyers, Georgia, and a local family and the local Rotary Club and the local youth baseball organization came together and said, we need a field, we need a program for these individuals with special needs in our community. And that's where it all started. And then HBO Real Sports shared our story with Bryant Gumbel and Frank DeFord, and it just spread like wildfire. People just started calling. The local family, Diane Alford is our founder and executive director, and she just started answering questions on how they did it and how we could do that in our own communities. So that's how I got involved. Back in 2001, we opened the second Miracle League in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And from there, just dozens popped up. And over the past 20 years, it's been an honor and a blessing to be a part of all that growth. I left Myrtle Beach in 2005 to come here to the corporate office and help Diane spread this mission of the Miracle League around the world, really. So now we have 345 Miracle Leagues. It's growing by the day, and we're just so blessed to have communities calling us on a daily basis asking, how can we do this? What do we need to do to bring this opportunity to our families in our own community? And we're just here for the ride to help these different communities not recreate the wheel. So we want to help them with what's worked, best practices, provide them with an A to Z manual of what could help them. Because going back to building Myrtle Beach, we didn't have, those first two fields, we didn't have a lot to go by. So every field we've built along the way, we've learned something and added that to our manual. Our Miracle League is a membership-based organization. So you join the Miracle League as a community, and you're part of now an international organization with 345 groups and communities and leagues across the country.
Well, first off, that's awesome to hear that it is just spreading like wildfire, and now there's 345 Miracle Leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a basic understanding of the Miracle League, but I guess how does the Miracle League work exactly, and what kind of participants join this program?
Sure. So our motto is the Miracle League's open for all ages and all abilities. So say an individual has a learning disability and it makes it hard for them to play on a traditional team, or maybe they have, any type of cognitive and or physical disability, they're eligible for Miracle League. And it can be from, this most severe to something that just may set them aside from being able to play on a traditional team. So we are open for all ages and all abilities. And we really just try to make Miracle League an inclusive program. And with our buddy program, it does make it inclusive because they have able-bodied peers that are there now playing with them. So we're not segregating, that population like they've been their entire life. We're now involving them in a game with peers that they're going to go to church with, go to school with, live in the same neighborhoods with. And that bond is being built off the baseball field. So now that is going beyond the field. It's going into the schools and into the community. And these kids are now being invited to birthday parties and building friendships that they never would have had the opportunity to build all over the simple game of baseball.
So I like the idea too of the buddy book program. So what type of organizations would you say that you see a lot of participation from? I mean, I would imagine that a university or a school would also just be a great contender for that role.
Yes, the Miracle Leagues where we're in a community with a college or a university have been phenomenal. We've got groups that come out. We have sororities, fraternities. We have special ed departments. We have therapy groups. We have sports teams. Any and all sports teams participate with us as buddies. What we love is that, an organization can adopt a team and they could say, hey, we'll adopt the Braves and we'll bring 12 buddies to every Braves game. And what's really cool about that is those kids know, like, oh, the fraternity's bringing, 12 of their guys and they're going to be buddies with us every, week throughout the season. So that's our ultimate goal, is to get groups or individuals to buddy with an individual team or player throughout the season so they can build those relationships and they can get to know the kids and the families. But you can also come out and buddy for the day, and try it out. Typically, when you do buddy for the day, you're hooked and you want to come back. So we have a lot of different groups. We have, youth travel teams. We have youth Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We have church groups. We have civic groups like Rotary, Kiwanis, Civitan. So anybody can come buddy. Typically, it's middle school age and up, and they're there just to protect the kids, to become a friend, to help them whatever their special need might be. Not to play the game for them, but just to assist them in whatever needs they might have.
So is there a particular person or maybe a story that stands out to you that you might be able to share as far as seeing someone make a big transformation through this program? I know you've mentioned friendships, but
yes, there's thousands of them across the country, and it's really cool to hear. We always say we should write a book about all the stories and lives that have been changed, not just players, but buddies and families as well. And not to mention that, but entire communities, because what the Miracle League has done now is shown individual people that, these are just individuals with special abilities, not really disabilities. So that's been really cool to see it transform a community and to now educate, our youngest kids up to adults that, these are individuals that have the same likes as you and I. They like the same music and the same junk food and the same, pizzas and parties and different things. They just do have, a few more obstacles or special abilities that sometimes keep them from doing that. So that's the biggest success of the whole Miracle League story, is to really change a whole community to be able to, now when you see these individuals at the restaurant or at the movies, there's not really that wall. That wall has been torn down, and now they're able to go up and say, hey, and feel comfortable and be able to include them in any other activities outside the baseball game. But one story I will tell you is about a little girl named Lauren. She's an adult now, but she began in the original Miracle League here in Conyers. Lauren had brittle bone disease. She's legally blind. She's had many surgeries, dozens of surgeries over the years, which made her, be able to break easily. Her bones would break easily, so she became bound to a wheelchair. Again, she was blind. Throughout, the years she played Miracle League baseball, but it never held her back. And she ended up graduating high school, going to college, and going back and working and teaching teaching in her local school system. And over the years, after that happened, someone asked Lauren, what made you think that you could go as a child with brittle bone disease, blind, can't walk, be able to go to college, graduate, and go back and get a job helping others? And her answer was really miraculous to me. She said it was the Miracle League. She said, the Miracle League gave me that hope that I knew that if I could play the game of baseball as a blind individual in a wheelchair with brittle bone disease, I knew if I could play baseball, I could do anything in this world. So that was really cool to see what Miracle League brought to her, the hope and the determination that if she can play baseball, she can do anything in this life.
Wow, that is such an inspiring story about Lauren, and thank you for sharing that. I would imagine that something like the Miracle League for her, obviously, it's had a lifelong impact. And I hope that her story is shared and continues to inspire other people that there are no limits. And so that just seems like that's a wonderful quality that comes about from the Miracle League, is just spreading that hope. And they do say that even your attitude, it has a very
Mhm.
positive benefit on the body's healing process. So I think just
Absolutely.
having that positive environment probably helps stimulate growth and better health for her physically. So I guess with that being said, what would you say are the top three biggest benefits for being a part of the Miracle League? I know we've mentioned a lot of things like the friendship and the hope,
Mhm.
but in your time there, you've been there for over 20 years. What have you seen as far as the biggest benefits?
I think the social aspect is the number one benefit that these kids and families, not just the kids, but the parents as well. Because again, they are, segregated many times in their life. Even the parents, they may not be able to do typical parent things that other parents get to do. So bringing the Miracle League together with these kids, the social aspect, which, there's been a lot of research shown that a lot of individuals with disabilities are able to work. They get in the workforce and then they aren't able to sustain the job because of social issues. Not even their disability, but more of a social aspect of it. So what we've seen these kids grow on the social side is phenomenal, and um, not to mention their parents and their siblings get to sit in the stands, and now they get to become friends with other parents that have things in common, same struggles, and same joys and different things that they get to share with each other. And they just get that respite for even if it's 1 hour a week. They're now, able to sit on the sidelines and see their kid do something that they never dreamed possible. And a lot of these parents are on duty or on call 24/7 with some of the disabilities that they deal with. So that's been an incredible aspect of the Miracle League, which we never saw before starting this, was the social aspect of it. Um, Number two, I think, is the physical aspect of it. A lot of these kids aren't getting, the physical activity that they need. Not to mention them, but all kids. It's quite an epidemic of, the amount of physical activity that the kids are required to get at school and or that they're getting outside of school. So um, we're now seeing like physical benefits, and that's helping their health. Um, and then, the third thing I think would be that hope and that just of them belonging to a team. Maybe they've never belonged to anything in their life besides, their immediate family. So just having that hope and that determination of, belonging to a team and having these friends to be there for you and to be able to be with on a weekly basis. Those are the three, top things that I think come out of it. And again, baseball is just our vehicle to get there.
Well, that really ties into it. I mean, that speaks the message of what we are as a company too, and that sport
Mhm,
fuels lives. And I love that you said baseball is the vehicle to do that, and that all those tie into just truly improving their quality of life through the
mhm,
social aspect that you talked about, getting more physical activity, and just that sense of belonging and hope to just continue to build a better future than maybe they thought that they could have ever dreamt. So that must be an extremely rewarding job for you. What's it been like working there?
It's a blessing. Every day we wake up, and we just, are blessed with the opportunities we have. I think, it's definitely a calling, and I've just, thank God every day that He put me in this path, in this position, to be able to help people and to be able to do what I love, with the two things that bring me passion and love is baseball and individuals with disabilities.
Well, that sounds like you are very lucky. And so I know you mentioned that it's based out of Georgia and it was
Mhm.
started there. That's where the headquarters are. And you've grown to 345 different Miracle Leagues. So if someone is looking to find one and become a part of one, how can they find the locations?
Sure, they can go to our website, miracleleague.com. I'm right on there under contact us, Stephanie at miracleleague.com. They can email me directly where they're located anywhere in the country. We also have a few international as well. Um, so they can email me directly, let me know where they are. If they'd like to play, volunteer, or donate, we'll get them connected with that local league director. A lot of our leagues are partnered with Parks and Rec or YMCA's or Boys and Girls Clubs, but we also have a lot of independent leagues as well that run as nonprofits. So here at the corporate office, we're always raising money to help start up new leagues. And then these leagues are always raising money at a local level to build and sustain their programs as well.
Okay. And then for someone, maybe the location that they're looking at and it's not as convenient or close to what they're looking for,
Mhm.
and they maybe want to start one.
Yeah.
How I know that you mentioned you've got a step-by-step process. How simple is it to actually start up your own league?
I think the first step is really simple in seeing if there is the interest in your community. So say you're just a citizen of that community or a mom or dad or, a teacher or whoever that may get this idea and this passion. The first step would be to reach out to us and get our starter package. And that's going to show you kind of the steps it takes to join, to design, to build, and to run a program. And then from there, we say take that package to your local Parks and Rec or to your local YMCA, somebody that would have land in your community or even an existing field that we could utilize. Those are the first steps. And typically, your local mayor, your council, Parks and Rec directors, any of those guys or girls can point you in the right direction. And sometimes they may even have an idea of doing it already. They just need, some community members to help spearhead it and to raise the money. It is a significant amount of money to raise for a community to build a fully inclusive park. But every community we've talked to said it's the easiest thing they've ever raised money for because it's such an inclusive program for the whole community. Not to mention just our baseball program, but we also build inclusive playgrounds that every kid can play on. So now that involves, every parent, every grandparent can now be a part of the Miracle League complexes as well and benefit for years to come from building that complex.
So how many new leagues do you see typically pop up within 1 year?
We're averaging about 2 new members a month.
Oh my
But
goodness.
we do build,
Wow.
and it takes a few years. The
Yeah.
average is 2 to 3 years to build a field,
Yeah.
and some longer, some shorter, depending on funding. But we typically build about 10 new complexes a year.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. So it sounds like there's great ways to donate, to be a part of it, or even build one if you don't have one locally. Stephanie, do you have anything else you'd love to add to this interview?
I don't think so. Just please reach out. First step is just to go to a game. If you do have a league in your community, just go be a fan in the stands. Cheering on these kids and these families is as important as being a buddy or donating money. So once you check it out, I know there's nothing I can say here to explain the miracles and the joy that unfold on that field. So please reach out and check out a game, visit our fields, visit our playgrounds. And I promise it'll be life-changing to you and your community and your family just to be a part of that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'll probably have to go check out the one here in High Point, see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Well, Stephanie, thank you for all that you do here at the Miracle League, making a difference in countless lives. I love what you do, and I'm sure that many others in the country and even internationally are just appreciating what you do. And also, thank you so much for joining us here on today's Sport Fuels Life podcast.
Thank you guys for sharing our story. We couldn't do it without the local communities and the media telling our story. So thank you for helping one more person find out about the Miracle League.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep spreading the word because what you're doing is awesome work.
Thank you guys. You too.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. If you liked this episode, then please go ahead, subscribe, like, or comment. This helps us grow more than you know, so we can keep making more content like this.
Or you can visit us on sportfuelslife.com and register to become a member for free, so you never miss another podcast episode. Thanks for listening.
Do it, you won't regret it.